Good afternoon. We're going to get started. So thank you for taking time out of your day for this webinar that's going to be focusing on the Pitt Ventures initiative within the Innovation Institute and the main element of its I-Corps site program. My name is Evan Fasher, and I'm the Director of Enterprise Development within the Innovation Institute, and I'll be leading the presentation and the discussion today. So the topics that we're going to be covering today include an introduction to the Innovation Institute. We're then going to talk in more detail about Pitt Ventures and the NSF I-Corps program, specifically who qualifies, what the grant opportunities are, program requirements, and then details around timing and participation commitment required for those who do want to participate. And we'll spend the last 10 minutes or so going through Q&A. So for those of you that do have questions, you'll be asked to submit them as they come up for you during the talk through the chat messaging feature of the webinar. And then we'll answer as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. You also see at the end of the presentation we'll be providing contact information. So if you have additional questions or if we don't have a chance to answer your question during the session today, you'll have contact information for someone who can answer those questions for you. So we're going to start with just providing a little bit of a brief overview for the Innovation Institute for those of you who may not be familiar with what it is. So the Innovation Institute was formed in November 2013 as a way to enhance the commercialization of innovations that were developed at Pitt. The Innovation Institute reports into the Office of Provost and also has responsibilities underneath the Vice Chancellor of Health Sciences. In that respect, the Innovation Institute covers every faculty, staff, and student across the entire campus, irregardless of the department or school someone finds himself in. The Innovation Institute is really composed of three main elements. One is the technology transfer of the university, one is new company creation, and one is also providing entrepreneurial assistance to existing companies that lie outside of the university. The idea for the Innovation Institute is to have a single destination for everyone on campus who's interested in commercializing their discoveries, to work with people on campus that can help them realize them. The origination of the Innovation Institute is for it to serve as the hub of commercialization services across the campus. It performs everything from managing the entire IP docket for all of university technology, to involved with licensing technologies developed on campus as well as marketing those. Provides a collection of commercialization in classes, workshops from the benchtop to bedside class to the Pitt Ventures I-Corps class, including academic entrepreneurship. We're involved with startup development, with the technology showcases that occur on campus, typically ahead of the science events. Business plan competition, so the Wells Healthcare Entrepreneurship Competition, the Randall Family Big Idea Competition. We oversee the Blast Furnace Student Accelerator on campus. We have opportunities to provide gap funding for commercialization purposes as well as training on SBIRs. And then we have a collection of entrepreneurs in residence on campus as well as work with the outside community to identify business mentors for folks that have a desire to work with someone in that kind of capacity. All of this is with the goal of enhancing the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship on campus, and increasing the number of innovations that are developed at Pitt, reaching them to market, and delivering on the intended societal values. So Pitt does have a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship that is gaining momentum. So since the focus was put on translation of technologies back in the late 90s, the university has brought in a little over $140 million in revenue from licensing. As we see from 1996 to 2015, there may be somebody that's online. If you can put your phones on mute, we're getting computer typing in the background. So you can see that through 2015, there's been a large increase in the number of invention disclosures, patents filed, issued patents, and licenses. So there are a large number of commercialization activities that are ongoing on campus. And there are also a lot of new companies that are created from technologies developed on campus. So since the office was put in place in '96, there have been over 150 companies that have been created based on university tech, covering the range of innovations from the math department all the way to complex devices to the medical school. So this is a trajectory that we're looking to continue, and it's an idea that is strongly supported by the senior leadership of the university. There is a desire to continue to move research results into the marketplace. Commercializing research provides a lot of opportunities to provide societal benefit, opportunity for economic growth. There are also significant opportunities to provide additional funding in commercialization. So the program that we're going to be focusing on today is called Pitt Ventures, and it is one of these initiatives that is focused on by the senior administration. One example of it is called Impelia. It's on sports medicine. Folks on their phones on mute, as we are hearing a significant amount of information. Okay, we'll try to work through that background noise as best we can. So we're now going to start talking about Pitt Ventures and specifically the I-Corps program. So the I-Corps program was developed at the National Science Foundation as a way to prepare researchers to extend their research focus beyond the laboratory to see if their innovation has potential for commercial impact. The initial embodiment of was through the creation of a host of I-Corps nodes cover various regions throughout the U.S., and those regions are meant to build and strengthen the national innovation ecosystem. Reporting into those individual nodes are the I-Corps sites. So the University of Pittsburgh is one of these I-Corps sites. There are about 36 I-Corps sites. The sites serve to catalyze local teams to enable them to explore the transition of technology to market, as well as provide that local infrastructure and set of resources to help local teams develop their opportunities and move them closer towards commercialization. The I-Corps sites sit underneath the I-Corps nodes and then report into the various nodes. So the nodes are regional in nature. The node that the University of Pittsburgh reports into is the New York node. The I-Corps program is really more than just a technology commercialization opportunity. It is meant to serve as a trajectory of funding. So at the I-Corps site level, which we can provide NSF legacy dollars per team. Those teams can then move to the I-Corps node level and get additional commercialization dollars, typically in the $50,000 range. And then from that point, if the team can get additional NSF grants in the $1 million plus range, or if the opportunity becomes commercialized, there's the chance for that team to receive additional investment.
This is my last day.
Public funding. So for example, a company that found
possibly to be going on up there. What the?
So if I can again ask folks to put themselves on mute rather than talk into the phone, that would be useful. So companies that have gotten companies that apply for SBIR grants based on technologies that have been through the I-Corps program have a 60% chance of getting that SBIR grant versus initial teams that have not been through the program typically have about a 15% chance of success. So the goal of the I-Corps program is to really accelerate the movement of innovations developed on campus to the marketplace where they can benefit society. And the focus is really on how do we develop solutions for needs or problems that exist in the marketplace. So the methodology that is used is team-based and hypothesis-driven. It's really using the scientific method for commercialization of technology. The idea itself The innovation catalyzes the process, but it's not necessarily the end game. The idea is, how do we create a business thesis around why we believe the technology is important, understanding who's the customer, and understanding why the customer may want to buy the technology. It does not use case studies or models to address that business thesis. It's really focused on using customer discovery, getting out there, out of the building, and engaging with real-world customers and partners and competitors to test that business thesis. And to test the business thesis, we develop a set of hypotheses around what items must be true such that the business thesis holds across a number of business-focused items. So we develop a hypothesis. We then design experiments to test that hypothesis. Those experiments are all tested in the marketplace through customer discovery. Once we test them, we get insights that then serve to validate or invalidate the original hypothesis. And we continue to do this evidence-based discovery across a host of different business areas until we get to the point where we do have a pretty good sense of what the value proposition is, what the need in the marketplace that's addressed is, and what the opportunity for the innovation is out there in the market.
Actually, you know what?
The Pitt I-Corps site program was established about 1 year ago after the university received a competitive NSF grant. So the I-Corps methodology that we use is based on the Pitt Ventures method, and I will talk about that in a moment. The grant provides the university with about $100,000 per year in gap funding to test and validate these business theses. We fund about 30 teams per year. We do 3 cohorts per academic year, 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, and 1 in the summer. And the grant that we have is 3 years. So we're just coming up on the end of our first year in the program. So the foundation for the methodology is something we call Pitt Ventures. And what Pitt Ventures tries to do, it tries to create a process around all the events that move an idea from conception to the marketplace, starting with identifying the opportunity, then moving it through a proof stage where we actually prove that there is a bona fide opportunity that the market has some interest in, moving into more detail where we do more traditional business planning, then launching it to get it out of the university either through a new company startup or through an existing business. And lastly, once it's out of the university, we also have the opportunity to help that opportunity grow. So the I-Corps program, the I-Corps site program, is focused on this first gear element called Prove It, where we perform customer discovery to identify what the value proposition is and what the pain point that we're addressing with the innovation is. It allows us to perform some more detailed initial market assessments, understand the competitive landscape, and have a much clearer sense of what the path to market is for the innovation. So once again, we at the Innovation Institute participate across all these different elements of the GEAR program. The I-Corps site is specifically focused on the first GEAR element, where we're doing detailed customer discovery to prove that there is a pain point in the marketplace that the innovation is addressing. So who qualifies for participation? The most important piece is that we have individuals that are excited about the hands-on immersive discovery process on understanding of how an innovation becomes an opportunity in the marketplace. The program is open to everybody on campus, students, postdocs, staff, faculty, alums, members of the local entrepreneurship community, as long as it's predicated on the use of a innovation that comes from Pitt-based research. We create teams for each of these innovations. The first member of the team is the entrepreneurial lead. So this entrepreneurial lead, if we were thinking of each team as a virtual startup company, the entrepreneurial lead would be seen as the CEO. This is someone that's going to have deep knowledge of the innovation, but also a commitment to investigating it from a commercialization perspective. In our experience, this is typically a student, but can be a faculty member. Each team also has an academic lead. This is a faculty member on campus that has an appointment at Pitt, or someone who can qualify to submit a grant proposal to the NSF. So this is someone, if we move to the I-Corps team level, this is someone that could submit that grant. If we need to get other grant funding, this is someone that can get that funding as well. And the last piece of this of this team are an outside business mentor. This could be an entrepreneurship in residence on campus or an outside business mentor. It's really someone who has experience and expertise on the business side of the world, someone who would be responsible and working with the team on advising them on business matters. Sometimes teams come to us with mentors already in hand, and other times we also work with teams to identify those mentors. The commitment of each team, we have 6 workshops that we conduct. In this cohort, it will go from February 16th out about 8 weeks until April 5th. Each of these workshops is 2 hours long. We expect each team to be present for those 2-hour-long workshops. All these workshops are flipped classroom. There are videos that the teams watch ahead of time to understand what the content for the day is, but for about 3/4 of the workshop, it's the teams presenting back to the teaching team the lessons that they learned through the flipped classroom, but more importantly, updates related to their customer interviews and how those interviews have impacted their business thesis and their business hypotheses. So the classroom is largely facilitated by the Innovation Institute and the teaching team members, and all of the content actually comes from the teams themselves. Beyond the workshops, there's also weekly 30-minute coaching sessions that each team has with the teaching team. So those are individual in nature versus the workshops where we have all of the teams together presenting to the entire group. These are all experiential learning focus workshops where the team is doing all the work outside the classroom, and they're really leading the discussions during the day. The teaching team itself will provide some classroom-based learning that supplements the flipped classroom videos that folks have the opportunity to go through. We start the sessions with understanding who are you, understanding what the business may look like, providing information on how to do more detailed customer interviews. We then move into understanding how do we create value for our customer, how do we segment the customer, how do we identify who they are, how do we start talking about what our value proposition is for the customer. Session 3 is understanding who the market is and who our competitors are. Session 4 moves into understanding the steps that we need to go to bring the product to market from where it currently is. Session 5 is focused on selling the opportunity from 2 perspectives. What are the channels that we need to actually get this product to market? And then also storytelling, so that we can have a better sense of how do we sell this or how do we pitch this idea to a potential investor, partner, collaborator. And the last session is an elevator pitch session where each team presents, through the different training that we provide, a mini investor pitch presentation. We also, during the session, during the earlier parts of the sessions, create minute and a half long elevator pitch videos that we have access to, as well as single-page marketing documents. All of these result in that last session. So what's in it for folks that are interested in participating? One, there's a unique introduction to entrepreneurship using this methodology, which is at the forefront of teaching on innovation and entrepreneurship and on the forefront of assessing the value of an early-stage innovation. There's a significant amount of immersive, hands-on experiential learning focused specifically on your innovation. There's the ability to work with a large number of partners, both on campus and off campus. There's direct access to business mentors to help each team move forward. We end up with a decent amount of partnering collateral. We've mentioned this video elevator pitch as well as the marketing document. And then, as importantly, we provide NSF legacy funding that allows the lab to seek additional funding from NSF. However, most importantly, we believe that there is an increased ability for you to move your innovation closer to society where it's going to have the intended benefit that it was created for. So now what? Applications are open now, and they're due by February 2nd. We're accepting 10 teams for the spring cohort. It starts February 6th. The sessions are Tuesdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., and then those individual one-on-one meetings with each team we schedule for whatever works for the team. So those will be individually scheduled. We'll also be sending all the webinar attendees the application directly and instructions via email. So we encourage people that are interested to please apply. We do have limited space. If there's an excess of demand, we'll try to accommodate by potentially adding additional session. We have, through this past cohort, we had to add an additional day of sessions for another cohort of folks that wanted to participate. So we're willing to do that, assuming that there is the right amount of demand. So with that, I'm closing with my remarks, and if there are any questions that have been typed in, we'll be happy to address them.
Did you remind them?
So if you do have questions, please post them in the chat area on the webinar site. Maybe as we wait for a few folks to type in, we do allow participation in the regional Pitt campuses, so it's not purely limited to the main Oakland campus. If you are a researcher, or if you know a researcher on one of the branch campuses that has a Pitt innovation that's interested in participating, the program is open to all the regional campuses. One of the first questions is around, can you provide matches to help form teams? So we can do that. We typically do that with outside business mentors, but if there are, and we have done it with faculty members that are looking for students to serve as entrepreneurial leads, we have done that. So if you are interested in whatever capacity, please let us know, and we can do our best to add you to a team, or if you have an innovation, help create a team around the innovation that you do have. To date, even prior to the start of the I-Corps grant, we've run through about 65 teams through the program, and we have about 9 new company spin-outs from those 65 teams. We have licensed one of those technologies to an existing company. We have had about 150 plus people participate, and I guess as importantly, out of those 65 teams that have participated, we've brought in about almost $3.5 million of additional funding, specifically focused on commercialization of those innovations, either through state awards or other funding that we can identify on campus, funding that we can identify off campus through philanthropic groups, or through other regional economic development institutes. So it is a way to take the innovation, move it further down the commercialization path, and in our experience, we've been fortunate to get these technologies out to society, and we've been fortunate to bring in a decent amount of additional capital to help the teams and help the innovations move closer to market from a commercialization perspective. It doesn't look like we have any other questions at this time. So if you do have any questions after the meeting, or something that you had a question for wasn't addressed, please feel free to email either myself or Paul Petrovich, and we will get you whatever information that you would like. And again, we would encourage folks to start applying. We have already had a number of people apply, so we'd like to get those seats filled up as quickly as we can, and add additional session if we really need to. So again, thank you for your time, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good weekend.